Hey guys, if you like this content, I would greatly appreciate it if you guys like the video and subscribed to my channel. It helps make these videos worth it going forward. What's up guys, Altcoin Tripper here with a crypto market review. As always, this is not financial advice. I'm not an expert doing on research. Today I'm just going to review several altcoins. I'll briefly go into Bitcoin, but not going to do like a super long comprehensive review. So where's Bitcoin at? We had this long consolidation period back in November, December, January, February, where prices chopped around, eventually retraced quite a bit, from that 110K to 75, and now is back at that level. This current region is a supply zone, meaning that it's resistance. You should see some sort of pullback around this area. Don't know what the pullback will look like, or if it maybe just happened. Generally speaking, when you see price hit these pullback marks, it depends on how price got there to begin with. So what I mean by that is, say you have like a price action example like this, where price comes back up and then hits a resistance area and then pulls back. But how it got there to begin with is pretty important. If it had a long, super strong, inefficient move up where price just, blitzed up, at that point, you'll generally see price come back down and fill some of the inefficiency. If, however, you see this instead, where price dumps, chop, 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 come up, chop, 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 come up, chop, 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 come up, chop, chop, chop. This is a much more sustainable move, where you saw consolidations and you saw some brief periods of pause. That's not to say that price still can't dump. Price could certainly still retrace, But when you see price action like this on the second example, it's a lot healthier overall. And in my opinion, that's a bit of what we saw here, where, you saw that low form in April, consolidation for, a week or whatever in late April, once again in April to May, and now you're seeing a further consolidation period at that resistance area. So, price can go up, price can go down. I think that, given the fact that price is really just one nice candle away from all-time high and really not much of a peep on the timeline, is pretty interesting. It's not a good place to open fresh longs. Price should still pull back around one of these areas, anywhere from 107, 109, whatever. But if you start looking overall, like on lower time frames, it really just still is within this consolidation. It's just choppy, really not much to say, if I'm being honest with you. But I'm cautiously optimistic. I'm just still going to say long on spot. And then if it truly breaks out, I'm just going to long a whole bunch of big memes, personally. But yeah, it's looking pretty nice in the 1 hour. But I mean, anyways, that's just Bitcoin. We're not going to go too deep into Bitcoin today. ETH, I'll briefly go into ETH as well. ETH obviously not nearly as good, but should just go the same way as Bitcoin. I think, like, if Bitcoin goes higher, then ETH certainly should follow. The ETH BTC chart, on the other hand, I'm not so sure. You are at this area where it's kind of almost like an SR level, where this was support, and now it could be resistance. But it's just going to go as Bitcoin goes, in my opinion. If Bitcoin retraces, this is just going to go back down to like the 1800s. If Bitcoin goes up higher, certainly go back up to the mid 3Ks, in my opinion. But I don't really know if there's a reason to buy ETH yet. ETH BTC should bounce eventually, but as I've said in multiple videos and multiple analysis in the past, ETH is just really like the middle child. Bitcoin is digital gold, owned by institutions, and huge market for it. And Solana is kind of like the one where a lot of DGen retail activity is at. ETH, there's not really much going on, And you know, you can say there's hard money and like lots of the DeFi infrastructure is built on it, but I don't know, not much happening on it yet. So I guess we'll just see. Anyways, let's go into some other charts. Solana looks pretty good. Chopped around that 125 level, now at 170. And I think it still looks pretty reasonable. Wouldn't be surprised if it hits a stopping point somewhere soon. Right around maybe like the 200 mark. Seems like pretty reasonable area. But there's a lot of activity picking up on Sol last few weeks, so I think that this is going to keep going up. But you know, just a good like long-term bag. I don't know if it actually outperforms Bitcoin. You know, like certainly on high time frames, probably not. But yeah, Sol should still have moments of outperformance, in my opinion. But yeah, like the 200 area would be like the area to look for next, in my opinion. CPOOL. Looks like I drew this way back when, and it's still holding true. Expecting this still just chop. It's in the same period for the last few months now. This range got established back in March, and this is actually the same kind of chart for many other altcoins, where you're seeing a lot of these charts, these coins kind of chop around the last 2 months. It could be 2 months, it could be 3 months, it depends on the chart. But I think that you're generally going to continue seeing chop until Bitcoin really decides what it wants to do. And if Bitcoin really explodes, and I highly expect this to like at least double on the breakout, it should certainly go to at least like kind of the 40-cent region, in my opinion, at a minimum. The longer that you see it chop, the better. And yeah, generally speaking, you know, yeah, the longer the consolidation, the stronger the preceding move after. Hype, still one of the best coins out there. Wouldn't necessarily want to buy here on the breakout. It's already tried breaking out several times, and it's hung around this area for the last kind of 2 weeks, you know, since the 10th. It's still one of the best charts in crypto and still one of the best projects in crypto. Would love to grab an entry at like 20 bucks. I don't know if it's going to happen anytime soon. But I wouldn't be surprised if this just like slowly keeps drifting higher. Tips are for buying, certainly. You know, if you see it get down to 20 bucks, it should be a really good buy. But wouldn't necessarily be holding my breath. This entire weird price action looks like some weird TWAP up. And it wouldn't surprise me to just see it continue up like this, you know. Like it'll eventually pull back, but expecting the broader market to pull back first. FARTCOIN, obviously still have a bag. It's done nothing but higher highs and higher lows. It's a beautiful trend. It looks like it could be pulling back even further. Maybe some signs of topping, but I don't know. Like, it's really hard to say. Because if you did a replay before this move, like this also doesn't look great, personally, you know. This looks like signs of distribution, where you're seeing like prices chop around in the same area, and it's much different than like this price action, for example, back in early April, and this is much more healthy than like this price action here. But even still, even with the price action at $1, it still made that next leg up. So like if Bitcoin breaks past all-time high, FARTCOIN should certainly do the same thing in terms of breaking out past this level. But it looks very choppy for now, and prices just hanging out. If you want to look for a levered bet on Bitcoin, obviously FARTCOIN was like a great outperformer earlier on in April, but currently it isn't in that mode currently. There are better altcoins in the short term. So wouldn't really recommend buying, wouldn't recommend selling. It's just kind of chopping around. I still think that this is one of the best memes of the cycle, though. I am biased. I do have a big bag of it, and but you know, I wouldn't be surprised to see this like kind of break this region if Bitcoin strongly moves. Grass is a coin I had my eye on for a while. I still think it's a great project. It looks like it's just chopping around. I don't really know. This chart is very kind of confusing to me personally. I don't see any like reason to buy or sell. Like maybe it's good for like a longer term hold, maybe, where you know, you just expect this to hit some certain narratives. If looking to buy, I would probably look for kind of this like 180 region. This is like where I'd consider buying personally. Seeing it go like come back down. Sorry, my dog. 1 second. Okay. Let's go through some other requests. SQD. Very unusual chart. Broke past this all-time high. Not this wick. This wick is kind of weird. You can say fill the wick. It'd be a 2x from here, basically. Don't really expect it to hit that, to fill that wick, but this price action is very grindy. You wouldn't really want to long or short this, in my opinion. You just want to see this kind of, like the trend is still up. Don't get me wrong, and it actually looks, it still is bullish. How could you say otherwise? It's still very bullish. You want to watch out for the leverage on the leverage though. There is a reason why we say stairs up, elevator down, where, you know, a shakeout like this could even still go like this and still go higher, but you'll see these big shakeouts happen, wipe everyone out, and then just grind higher. Not saying that's what's necessarily going to happen, but this price action does make it very difficult, in my opinion, to decipher what's going on. You did see a nice SR flip, in my opinion. Former all-time high wick. Well, I'm not counting the other wick, but you know, the one that's kind of more relevant, around 22 cents. Price came back down to that level, and had a pretty nice bounce. So yeah, I still like it. It's still a nice chart. Just hard to trade it. IOTA. I thought that it was still going to chop around. It looks like I already drew a previous chart as well, and it still could come back to that level. The chart itself is still fine, in my opinion. Where I thought it would come back down kind of like this 12 cents area, this 12 to 13 cents area. And to be determined if it's going to have a run like it did back in December anytime soon. But I do believe there are some catalysts for this chart. If I were looking to trade this one, I would look to maybe see another retest of that area around 17 cents. Let it chop around and then potentially buy it at that point. POPCAT was one of the best coins before. I don't know why I have this. It looks interesting for now. You can just put out a fib where it's hanging around kind of this 382 fib. It'd be a banger entry to get around this area if you can get it around the 0.5 fib and 38 cents. This would be an excellent entry if it comes. A decent strategy might be to go in half now around the 382 fib and then half later. So, you know, if you're willing to take, you know, the 10%, 12% drawdown from current prices, but there should be like pretty good bounce opportunities around this area if it comes 38 cents. But overall, like the chart is still pretty nice. Like, you know, it got obliterated before 12 cents and now went up to 65. And still think it looks pretty decent though. Like, you know, it does need to form a higher low. So would want to see something like this where, you know, it chops around and then goes higher. That would be very healthy. Near, this is a chart I had from before. Again, I expected it just to chill out. This is similar to the IOTA chart. Many altcoins have this type of chart as well. Wouldn't be surprised at all to see it kind of just go like this. Kind of just chill out. And then, you know, have a nice move up later on. Pretty neutral though. BONK. I'm in a BONK long now, but not really a huge fan of it. It's around the 382 fib. Again, similar to the POPCAT chart. An entry around this area would be freaking awesome. Around this like 16 50 area. I would love an entry there. 0.5 fib, SR region, probably some EMAs as well. Yeah, it just looks. I would love an entry there, but I'm already currently long. But would probably add honestly, if it comes down. Again, similar to POPCAT, you know, take the 10% drawdown or whatever, but still pretty bullish on it overall. I'm gonna go with a link. The chart looks okay, similar to IOTA and near, where, you know, price kind of hit this region of support, and had the kind of a move up, but again, probably going to come back down to that support region and then higher later on. This is kind of my same prediction for near and IOTA. S, I believe, is still in this chop range, 75 days in, and no real conclusion, in my opinion. Right near the point of control, around 51 cents. Still think it's a good coin, still think it's a great project, but wouldn't be surprised at all just to see this continue chopping. No real strong move for a while. GOAT, used to love GOAT. Had some good moves with the AI runs earlier with like AVA AI and all those other coins doing really well, but looks like it's pulling back now. Risky long, maybe around like kind of this 12, 13 cents region. You could maybe consider that, but would be pretty careful, honestly, overall. But, you know, actually probably hits some key fibs. If you fib from top to bottom. And yeah, it's kind of hanging around. I don't know. These fibs aren't clear either to me, so I don't know. Like I would buy that. I would not buy this personally, but that's just me. MOODENG was great. Insane moves. I had a few different opinions on this. I didn't know what was happening. You have two scenarios here, and this is actually very telling for what the rest of the market will do, in my opinion. Number one, you either have a situation where price hit a lower high, and, you know, it went from basically 2 cents all the way up to like 35. Insane fucking move, really. Top to bottom. I don't think many people caught it, to be frank with you. But certainly an argument to be made, just like a lower high, and now it just goes back to the depths of hell. So we just see it like go all the way back down. Probably more like a slow grind, though, like this. That's probably what it would more look like, in my opinion. Another argument is like if it forms a higher low, I don't know, call it around 15 cents and then goes up again. But this is a good example of what to expect, where even if altcoins aren't going back to all-time highs, which the vast majority of them probably will not. Maybe they will in the USD pair, but not in the Bitcoin pair. Where these altcoins, many of them can go, you know, 2, 3, 5x or more. Like this one did a lot more from the bottom. And there's still really good opportunities. No, it's not quote-unquote alt season. Every altcoin is not going to do this. And it's very hard to find the outperformers. But it's just a good example of saying that there are always opportunities in this market. And that even if it's not a bull market, so to speak, these are still really good moves to take advantage of. Even if you bought it at 8, 9 cents, you know, you still got a few X out of it from top to bottom. So to be determined what's going to happen next with a coin like MOODENG. Wouldn't be surprised at all to see either of these scenarios, to be frank with you. I'm not really projecting either. If Bitcoin full blasts higher, I wouldn't be surprised to see this go up again. But unless that happens, maybe just a slow bleed. Render, I don't know what to think about this chart, honestly. It looks kind of weird. It's pretty reasonable overall. Looks like I had some old charts too of like where you hit these like 60% drawdowns top to bottom. And then you zoom out a little bit too. And you have 75%. And then again, 78%. So like, you know, some huge moves in both directions, followed by, you know, 4 to 12 bucks. So yeah, 4 to 12 bucks goes 3x. So I mean, yeah, like, there's good moves in both directions. As of right now, I think it just goes back down, probably just trades down unless Bitcoin does something silly. It's better in my opinion to think about the category that this coin is in. And the category would be centralized exchange AI coins like Fetch or Render or Akash or Tau. These kind of coins definitely have a different risk profile than coins like Ava AI or A16Z, AI16Z or whatever. Virtual, those on-chain ones are a little bit different. Those ones did a lot better. They also got more crushed than this coin did. So to be determined like where that money goes to if like you're talking about on-chain AI coins versus centralized exchange AI coins. Portal, this coin looks very horrific. I have nothing to say. It just looks really bad. Wouldn't buy this at all. If you want to buy this, then you'd buy it on the way up. Buy it around there. If you're bag holding from lower, I don't know where this ends. Like, it surely should pump, but you know, if you bought like in this area here back in September or something, I would sell it the next opportunity that you have. You know, like if it goes back up to like 28 cents or something, I would definitely sell that shit personally. And then I would put that money somewhere else. This chart just looks really bad. Sushi, the coin looks okay, not great. It is in this nice support area. But no real reason to buy this one in my opinion. Much better coins out there. Sui, one of the best coins ever. Crazy fucking run. Don't really know what to say about this like weird consolidation move where it like, you know, had this big move up. Consolidation, drive, consolidation. The way you play this in my opinion is just like, just goes probably spot and just let it sit, do its thing. I wouldn't be surprised if it goes higher though. I mean, it's just like a really good, strong coin. Definitely would watch out though around the 550 area. Like if it goes back up, probably hits some sort of resistance around there. WIF looks interesting. Again, another coin that got freaking obliterated. Went from like $5 down to 30 cents. I do have a small bag of this, but looking like it's just chopping around now. No real super conclusive thoughts. I'm still going to hold my bag. But the levels, it should bounce relatively soon around here, though, in my opinion. This area. Still a good coin, though, in my opinion. Anyways, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for the support, and I'll catch you guys later.